The galaxy was quiet, but it was a dangerous quiet. Far beyond the borders of explored space, many star systems were under the shadow of fear. The Vraketh, a ruthless alien coalition, had spread terror across dozens of worlds. They had fleets that could crush entire planetary defenses and superweapons that could erase life with a single strike. No civilization was safe. The galaxy trembled. On the edge of known space, a small human scout ship, the Horizon, moved silently among the stars. Its crew had been sent to map uncharted systems, but what they found was far beyond their expectations. On the ship's communications deck, Lieutenant Mara Jensen watched the monitors flicker. A faint signal appeared, almost buried in static. It was a distress call, but unlike anything they had received before. The voice was trembling, fragmented, speaking a language humans could barely decode. "This is not like the usual automated distress signals," said Mara, her brow furrowed. "Someone is alive. Someone is asking for help." Captain Rourke leaned forward, his eyes narrowing at the screen. "Where is it coming from?" Mara adjusted the coordinates. "Deep inside Vraketh-controlled space. It's dangerous, but it's real." There was silence in the command room. The human crew had heard rumors of the Vraketh. They knew stories of entire fleets being destroyed in minutes, of planets burned to cinders, of civilizations reduced to slaves. Yet, none of the stories prepared them for this moment. Rourke's voice was steady but firm. "We are the closest ship to that sector. We cannot ignore it. We have to respond." Some of the crew hesitated. This was a mission no one wanted to accept. But humans were not known for turning away when others needed help. Courage, creativity, and stubbornness ran in their blood. Lieutenant Mara nodded. "I'll chart the fastest route, but we have to move carefully. The Vraketh have patrols everywhere. One wrong move and we're finished." Rourke gave a sharp nod. "We'll take it slow, we'll scout, but we move. Humanity doesn't leave anyone behind." The Horizon slipped into the void, invisible to most sensors. Small, fast, and unarmed compared to the Vraketh fleets, it relied on stealth and speed. Mara's fingers danced over the navigation controls, calculating jumps and trajectories that would avoid detection. Every jump carried risk, but every moment counted for those sending the distress call. Days passed as the Horizon advanced deeper into the hostile territory. The crew kept to strict routines, their nerves tight but disciplined. They passed burned out ships, abandoned stations, and debris fields that were the scars of past battles. The sight of destruction only strengthened their resolve. During a break in her watch, Mara walked to the observation deck. The stars seemed distant and cold, but even in the emptiness, she felt a spark of determination. "We have to help them," she whispered to herself. "Whatever it takes." Suddenly, alarms rang. A small patrol was approaching. The Horizon sensors picked up the Vraketh craft, large and armed with weapons that could obliterate a human ship in seconds. The crew moved quickly. Rourke gave the order. "Engage stealth protocol. Drop to sensor blind spots. Do not fire unless we have no choice." The ship hummed softly as cloaking fields activated. The patrol passed by without detecting them. Relief washed over the crew, but it was short-lived. Lieutenant Soren, the communications officer, spoke up. "Captain, I'm picking up the distress signal again. It's stronger. Whoever sent it is close." Rourke's eyes narrowed. "Close enough for us to intervene. Prepare the scout teams. We'll see if we can make contact without alerting the Vraketh." The Horizon dropped to a lower orbit around a dying star. Mara guided the ship through asteroid clusters and radiation pockets, each move calculated to avoid detection. Finally, they arrived at the source. A small, heavily damaged space station floated in orbit around a frozen planet. Its hull was scarred, and smoke trailed from several breached sections. The distress call was clearer now. The voice was human, or at least humanoid, but with a strange accent. "Help, please. The Vraketh. They will destroy us." Mara's hand trembled slightly as she played the recording. "They've been here a long time. The station is barely holding together." Rourke's jaw tightened. "Prepare a small landing party. We go in quietly. Rescue anyone we can. A team of 5 suited up, including Mara, Lieutenant Soren, and a security officer named Kale. They boarded a small shuttle, leaving the safety of the horizon for the dangerous station. As they approached, the full scale of the damage became clear. Fires burned uncontrollably and life support systems flickered. Broken drones floated in the corridors, and strange alien markings hinted at the Vraketh presence. Mara led the team through the corridors, scanning for survivors. Finally, they found a small group of humanoid beings hiding in a storage bay. Their eyes widened at the sight of the humans, hope and fear mixing together. We didn't know if anyone would come," one of the survivors whispered. Rourke's voice came through comms. "You're safe now. We are here to get you out. Stay calm and follow our instructions." The survivors guided the humans toward a hidden shuttle bay. As they moved, Mara noticed symbols carved into the walls, warnings left by previous prisoners. The Vraketh were meticulous and cruel, leaving messages that reminded everyone of their power. Suddenly, a shadow moved. A Vraketh patrol had entered the station. The humans froze. There were 4 of them, tall, armored, and lethal. Their eyes glowed red, scanning for intruders. Kale whispered, "We don't have much time." Mara nodded. Using a combination of EMP grenades and quick movements, the team disabled the patrol silently. The survivors gasped, but understood the necessity. They hurried toward the shuttle bay. Once aboard the shuttle, Mara breathed a sigh of relief. "Everyone accounted for?" Soren checked the manifests. "Yes, Captain. All survivors are on board. The ICT..." Shuttle lifted off just as alarms blared throughout the station. The Vraketh patrols had noticed something, but it was too late. The humans had vanished into the void, leaving the burning station behind. Back on the horizon, the crew celebrated the small victory quietly. They knew it was only the beginning. The Vraketh were still out there, stronger and more numerous than anything humans had faced before. Rourke addressed the team. "We've made a start, but the galaxy is still in danger. If we want to help, we have to go further. We have to find out what the Vraketh are planning, and we have to stop it. Humanity doesn't run from the impossible." Mara looked out. The observation window. Stars stretched into lines as the ship jumped to hyperspace. Somewhere in the galaxy, others were counting on them. Others were hoping. Others were waiting for someone to show that they were not alone. The survivors aboard the horizon were still shaken, but alive. For the first time in weeks, they felt a small measure of safety. Captain Rourke ordered them to the medical bay, where human medics treated their injuries. Their relief was palpable, but the weight of the galaxy's danger hung over everyone like a shadow. Lieutenant Mara Jensen stood by the observation deck, staring at the stars. The frozen planet below was barely visible, a pale blue dot lost in darkness. She thought about the distress call they had followed. How many others were out there, trapped and helpless? How many would not survive the Vraketh's rule? Soren, the communications officer, approached her quietly. "The survivors said something about a superweapon," he said. "They didn't know details, but they were terrified. They said the Vraketh were planning to destroy a star system soon. They called it the Core Shatterer." Mara's eyes widened. "A star-destroying weapon?" Rourke joined them, his face grim. "We can't ignore that. If the Vraketh have one superweapon, who knows how many others they might have? We need intelligence, and we need allies, though it seems none are willing to act." The horizon's sensors picked up strange energy readings near a nearby nebula. Mara analyzed the data. "This could be a forward base. Sensors are minimal, but I detect massive energy signatures hidden beneath the nebula clouds. It's heavily shielded. If the superweapon is real, this might be where it is." Rourke nodded. We go in, but carefully. We need a full understanding before any attack. This is more than a rescue mission now. This is about survival. The ship approached the nebula, slipping past sensor grids and hiding in ion storms. The horizon was small, fast, and agile, perfect for reconnaissance, but the Vraketh forces in the area were overwhelming. Mara guided them carefully, navigating through asteroid fields and ion storms, using every advantage the ship had. They finally reached the hidden base. From orbit, it looked massive, almost alive with energy. Ships moved in and out, and automated. Defenses glowed ominously. Mara watched the feeds, trying to spot weaknesses. "Captain," she said quietly, "this is worse than I thought. There's no easy way in. The defenses are layered and complex, but there are patterns. We can exploit timing windows." Rourke smiled faintly. "That's humanity for you. Find a way when everyone else sees walls." A scouting team was assembled. Mara, Soren, and Kale joined it, alongside 2 others from the crew. Using a small stealth craft, they entered the nebula, cloaked and nearly invisible. Inside, the base loomed larger and larger. Automated turrets scanned the area, and patrol ships moved methodically. Every misstep would mean detection and death. Kyle whispered, "I don't like this. Too many variables, too many ways to die." Mara smiled faintly. "Then we'll just make sure we're unpredictable." They slipped through gaps in patrol routes, studying the base from hidden vantage points. Soren hacked into minor communication relays, gathering data. They discovered that the Vraketh were preparing to launch the core shatterer at a nearby inhabited system within hours. The full scale of the weapon's destructive power made Mara shiver. One strike could annihilate billions of lives. "We don't have much time," Mara said. "We need to report this and prepare a counterplan." Back on the horizon, they debated their options. They could try to destroy the weapon now, but the base was too heavily defended. A frontal attack would be suicide. They needed another plan. Soren suggested using the Vraketh's own technology against them. "If we can sabotage their communications and control systems," he said, "we can delay the launch long enough for reinforcements, or even disable the weapon entirely." Rourke nodded. "Do it. Mara, you lead the infiltration. Kale, you provide security. Timing is everything. Every second counts." The team suited up and launched in stealth pods toward the base. The atmosphere of tension was palpable. Every movement was measured, every breath controlled. They landed in an unused docking bay, carefully avoiding patrols. The base was huge inside, dark and mechanical. Pipes hissed, lights flickered, and strange alien sounds echoed in the corridors. They reached the main control hub. Soren quickly hacked into the systems while Mara and Kale stood guard. Suddenly, alarms blared. A patrol had discovered part of their intrusion. "Move fast!" Mara shouted. Soren's fingers flew over the console. "I'm in! I'm redirecting power from the core shatterer's control systems, but they're locking me out." Kale fired his sidearm at approaching patrols, precise and efficient. The humans fought with speed and courage, holding the aliens off while Soren worked. Finally, the systems were disrupted. Energy flows went haywire, communications scrambled, and the core shatterer went offline temporarily. The humans had bought time, but they knew the Vraketh would respond quickly. Mara checked her watch. "We've delayed them, but not for long. We need to leave, now!" The team ran through the corridors, alarms blaring and red lights flashing. Patrols chased them relentlessly, but the humans moved with a combination of strategy and instinct, avoiding confrontation wherever possible. They reached the docking bay just as Vraketh reinforcements arrived. Mara ordered the pods to launch. Engines roared as the small crafts lifted off, weaving through enemy fire. The team regrouped near the horizon, exhausted but alive. Back on the human ship, Rourke addressed the team. "Today, we did more than survive. We delayed a weapon capable of destroying billions. We showed that humans can fight even when the odds are impossible. This is what we do. The survivors looked on, awe and hope in their eyes. Some had never seen humans in action before, and they were beginning to understand the human spirit, courage, ingenuity, and an unwillingness to give up. Mara returned to the observation deck. The nebula faded behind them as they jumped to another system. She thought about the core shatterer and how many lives depended on them stopping it. "We've made a start," she said quietly, "but this is just the beginning." Suddenly, the sensors picked up an unknown signature, a massive fleet approaching. Hundreds of ships, more advanced than anything humans had faced, were moving fast, closing the distance. Rourke's eyes narrowed. "The Vracath know we are here. They're coming for us." Mara's heart raced, but she did not show fear. "Then we'll show them humans don't run from danger. We'll fight, outsmart, and survive." The crew prepared for battle. Shields were powered to maximum, weapons calibrated, and every member took their station. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy who had crushed entire civilizations. But humans had something the Vracath did not: ingenuity, courage, and determination that no weapon could destroy. As the massive fleet approached, the horizon and its small team waited. In the dark expanse of space, under the silent stars, the humans prepared to strike back for the first time. And somewhere across the galaxy, civilizations holding their breath began to hope. The humans were coming. The human crew of the Horizon stared at the growing fleet on the sensors. Hundreds of Vracath ships were moving toward them, organized and deadly. They outnumbered the humans by far. Every captain in the galaxy would have panicked. But Captain Rourke did not panic. He knew humans were not meant to follow the rules of fear. "Listen up," Rourke said firmly. "We are outnumbered. That is obvious. But the Vracath have one weakness. They expect us to act predictably. We won't. We'll use their arrogance against them. Mara, you and Kyle handle forward sensors and navigation. Soren, coordinate electronic attacks. Everyone else be ready for evasive maneuvers and boarding parties if necessary." Mara nodded. She felt her heart race, but she also felt the familiar thrill of challenge. Humans thrived in impossible situations, and this was one of them. The Vracath fleet approached, massive and threatening. Their ships glowed with strange energy. Weapons, systems ready, but humans did not attack immediately. Instead, they waited, observing the enemy patterns, noting timing and formation. "Timing is everything," Mara whispered. "We strike when they least expect it." As the Vracath closed in, the Horizon's stealth systems activated. Cloaked and small, it moved like a shadow among giants. Mara guided the ship through an asteroid field, weaving between massive rocks that the Vracath could not navigate without slowing down. Soren worked quickly at the communications panel. "I can hack their sensors, cause temporary malfunctions. It won't last long, but it will give us an advantage." Rourke's eyes were calm. "Do it. Every second counts." Suddenly, explosions rocked the asteroid field. Small, automated, Vracath drones had detected the Horizon's presence. Kale fired the ship's limited weapons, taking out the drones with precise shots. The humans moved fast, unpredictable, striking with efficiency. The Vracath commander, observing from the flagship, frowned. "These humans, they are not like the others. They fight differently, adaptively, cleverly." Mara smiled grimly. "We fight like humans. We don't give up, we don't surrender, and we never fight the way anyone expects." The Horizon used every tactic in its arsenal. They drew part of the fleet into narrow passages of the asteroid field, where massive ships could not maneuver. They created electronic disruptions, making the Vracath fleet believe there were multiple targets. Small, precise attacks took out key enemy systems. Rourke watched the enemy falter slightly. "Keep it up. Let them think they can control the situation. Let them get overconfident." During the skirmish, Mara and Kale spotted a massive Vraketh ship moving toward the Core Shatterer's hidden base. It seemed to be the command vessel coordinating the fleet. "They're going to the superweapon," Mara said urgently. "We can't let them get there. We need to slow them down." Rourke made a decision. "Prepare boarding parties. Mara, you lead. Kale, you cover. Soren, you handle electronic support. We're going in." Small human crafts detached from the horizon, approaching the massive Vraketh vessel under cover of the asteroid field. The humans were few, but they were fast and clever. Explosions from the skirmish masked their approach. Inside the Vraketh ship, the corridors were dark and metallic. Automated drones patrolled, but the humans moved quickly, avoiding detection. They reached the ship's control room. Soren worked rapidly, planting viruses and hacking into control systems to disrupt communication and navigation. "Almost there," Soren said, sweat on his brow. "Just a few more seconds." The Vraketh noticed something was wrong. Alarms blared, red lights flashing. Mara and Kyle prepared for combat. When a patrol appeared, they moved with speed and precision, disabling enemies silently where possible and with force where necessary. Systems disrupted. Soren shouted, "We've slowed their fleet. The command ship is in chaos." Back in space, the Vraketh fleet faltered. Some ships turned back, some moved erratically. The humans had done what seemed impossible. They had disrupted the largest enemy fleet they had encountered. Rourke watched through the horizon sensors. "Humans are unstoppable when they refuse to be predictable," he said quietly. "This is the start." But the fight was far from over. The Vraketh regrouped, sending reinforcements toward the humans. Mara realized they needed to strike decisively. "Captain," she said, "we can't keep this up forever. We need to hit the superweapon now, while the enemy is distracted." Rourke nodded. "Agreed. Mara, Kale, Soren, you go. Everyone else, keep the fleet busy. Draw attention away from the Core Shatterer. We move fast, hit hard, and survive. That is our way." The humans navigated through asteroid debris and enemy fire, finally approaching the hidden base. The Core Shatterer loomed ahead, enormous and deadly. Its energy pulsed, ready to destroy an entire system. Mara's jaw tightened. "We don't have time for hesitation. We strike now." They launched small, precise attacks, disabling defense systems, cutting energy flows, and planting charges on key points. The Vraketh inside the base were stunned by the sudden appearance of humans. They tried to respond, but the humans were faster, smarter, and unpredictable. Kale fought with relentless efficiency, Mara led the charge with courage and quick thinking, and Soren disrupted all communications and automated defenses. They worked. As a team, human ingenuity overcoming alien technology. Meanwhile, the rest of the Horizon crew kept the enemy fleet busy. Using electronic interference, clever maneuvers, and small-scale attacks, they made the Vraketh believe the main strike was coming from a different location. The Core Shatterer's defenses were failing. Alarms blared, systems overloaded, and the superweapon's energy output became unstable. Mara planted the final charge, her hand steady despite the danger around her. "Charge set," she called. "We need to get out, now!" The humans raced, back to their ships as explosions tore through the base. The Core Shatterer's systems overloaded, and the weapon shut down permanently. Fires erupted, alarms blared, and the Vraketh were thrown into chaos. Back aboard the Horizon, Rourke watched with satisfaction. "The humans have done what no one else could," he said quietly. "We stopped the Core Shatterer. We saved billions of lives today." The survivors looked on in awe. The humans had not only rescued them, but had also struck a decisive blow against the Vraketh. Their courage, intelligence, and teamwork had changed the course of events. Mara returned to the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The Vraketh fleet was still strong, But the humans had proven something important. They were not to be underestimated. Somewhere across the galaxy, other civilizations were watching. Reports spread quickly. A small human crew had defeated the Vraketh in space and disabled their deadliest weapon. Hope, long thought lost, began to return. Rourke gathered the crew. This is just the beginning. The galaxy needs humans now more than ever. We've made a mark today, but we must continue. The Vraketh will not forget this, and neither will we. Mara smiled faintly, determination in her eyes. Then we keep moving. We keep fighting. We keep showing the galaxy what humans are capable of. In the darkness of space, under the cold light of distant stars, the humans prepared for the battles ahead. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy that had enslaved entire civilizations, but they had courage, intelligence, and an unbreakable spirit. The humans were not just surviving, they were making a difference, and the galaxy was beginning to notice. The Vraketh superweapon was destroyed, but the fight was far from over. From deep space, their massive fleet regrouped, furious and more determined than ever. They would not tolerate human interference. They wanted revenge. Captain Rourke stood on the horizon's command deck, staring at the screens that showed the advancing enemy. Hundreds of ships, more heavily armed than anything humans had faced before, were moving fast, closing in on the survivors and the human crew. We delayed them, but they are regrouping, Rourke said, voice steady but firm. We cannot run forever. We must strike where it hurts them most. Lieutenant Mara Jensen nodded. We know where the core Shatterer was. We know the Vraketh are dependent on their fortress ships and supply stations. If we hit one of their main fortresses, we can weaken their operations. We can stop them from rebuilding immediately. Rourke turned to Soren, the communications officer. Can we infiltrate the fortress and cause chaos from within? Soren's fingers flew over the console. It will be difficult, but possible. Their defenses are strong, but I've already analyzed their patterns from our previous encounters. We can use stealth, electronic disruption, and precise strikes to weaken them. Timing is everything. Kyle, the security officer, leaned forward. We need a plan that combines direct strikes with infiltration. Hit them where they least expect it. Confuse them, divide them, and survive. Rourke nodded. Exactly. Mara, Kale, Soren, you lead the team. Everyone else will keep the enemy fleet engaged. We move fast, strike hard, and get out alive. That's humanity's way. The humans approached the Vraketh fortress, a massive structure orbiting a dead star. Its walls gleamed with energy shields, and patrols moved like clockwork. Automated. Turrets scanned the void, and large ships patrolled the perimeter. To anyone else, it seemed impossible to breach. Mara guided their small craft carefully. We use stealth first, avoid detection until the last moment, then hit hard and fast. The team entered the fortress's outer defenses. Small explosions and electronic disruptions caused confusion among the Vraketh crew. Mara and Kyle led the way through the corridors, disabling patrols silently when possible, using force only when necessary. Soren worked at the control panels. I'm shutting down their surveillance systems. Doors, cameras, communications. They'll think the base is malfunctioning. It should give us a window to move deeper. They moved through the dark corridors, past strange alien technology and massive energy conduits. The fortress seemed alive, humming with power, but the humans stayed focused, determined. They had to reach the command core, where the Vraketh controlled the fortress and coordinated their fleet. Suddenly, a squad of Vraketh soldiers appeared, blocking their path. Kale fired with precision, taking out the soldiers quickly. Mara moved with speed and efficiency, leading the team past the blockade. "Keep moving," she shouted. "We cannot be stopped now." Soren hacked into the main doors ahead. "Almost there. And done. The path is clear. Move fast." They reached the central command hub. The room was massive, filled with glowing consoles, holographic. Displays and alien officers trying to coordinate defenses. Mara signaled the team, "Plant charges on the energy conduits. We disrupt their power supply. Soren, take over their communications. Kyle, cover us." Soren typed furiously, sending false orders and jamming communications. The Vraketh were thrown into confusion. Mara and Kale planted charges, timing them to detonate in precise sequence. The fortress shuddered as explosions rocked the structure. Lights flickered, alarms blared, and the alien officers struggled to regain control. Chaos spread through the base. Meanwhile, outside the fortress, the human fleet engaged the Vraketh ships. Using electronic warfare, clever maneuvers, and small, precise attacks, they drew the enemy's attention away from the infiltration team. Mara checked her watch. "Charges set. Detonation in 10 seconds. Everyone ready?" The team nodded. "Now!" she shouted. Explosions tore through the energy conduits. The fortress shuddered violently. Fire and smoke filled the corridors. Automated systems failed, and the Vraketh officers struggled to maintain control. The humans had struck a decisive blow. "Move out! We need to get back to the ships," Mara commanded. The team ran through collapsing corridors, dodging falling debris and malfunctioning security drones. Kyle provided cover, taking down enemies that blocked their path. Soren guided them with real-time updates, hacking doors and disabling traps. Finally, they reached the docking bay. Their small crafts lifted off just as the fortress erupted in massive explosions. The shields failed completely, and fire spread through the structure. The humans had crippled one of the Vraketh's main fortresses. Back on the horizon, Rourke watched the reports. "This is more than I hoped for. They're disoriented, scattered, and vulnerable now. Humanity has struck a major blow." The survivors who had been rescued earlier looked on in awe. The humans had not only saved them, but had also shattered a fortress that seemed untouchable. Their courage, intelligence, and determination had made the impossible possible. But victory came at a cost. Parts of the fortress collapsed in unexpected ways, sending shock waves through space. Some human ships were damaged, and a few team members were injured. The humans had survived, but just barely. Mara returned to the observation deck, breathing heavily. She stared at the stars, knowing that the Vraketh would not forgive this attack. They would retaliate more fiercely than ever. Rourke approached her. "We've done something incredible today, but we cannot rest. The Vraketh will strike back. We must be ready." Mara nodded. "Then we keep moving. We show them that humans cannot be broken, cannot be defeated, and will always fight for those who cannot fight for themselves." Rourke smiled faintly. "That is humanity. That is what makes us different. That is why the galaxy will begin to notice." As the horizon moved away from the destroyed fortress, the Vraketh fleet regrouped, furious but shaken. Across the galaxy, other civilizations began to receive news. Humans had not only survived against impossible odds, but they had also struck a powerful blow against the Vraketh Empire. Hope, long thought lost, began to spread. People whispered the word across star systems: humans. Brave, clever, unstoppable humans. The humans themselves knew the battle was not over. There were more fortresses, more weapons, more fleets to face. But they had learned something important. With courage, intelligence, and determination, even the strongest enemy could be challenged. Mara returned to her post at the observation deck. She looked out at the endless stars. "We've made a mark today," she said softly. "The galaxy will remember us, and the Vraketh will never underestimate humans again." Rourke joined her. "No, they won't, and neither will anyone else. Today, we showed the galaxy what humanity can do. Tomorrow, we show them even more. Somewhere in the darkness, in systems far away, civilizations held their breath, waiting for humans to rise again, waiting for humans to continue the fight against the Vraketh, and humans would not disappoint. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of their courage. They had witnessed human ingenuity and heroism. And the Vraketh would learn soon enough that humans were not to be ignored, not to be underestimated, and never, ever to be defeated. The Horizon and its crew moved forward, ready for the battles ahead. In the silence of space, under the cold light of distant stars, the humans prepared. They would continue to fight. They would continue to protect the helpless. They would continue to show the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. The galaxy had seen glimpses of humanity's courage, but the final test was still ahead. The Vraketh were furious. Their fortress had been destroyed, their superweapon disabled, and their fleets scattered. Yet, they still held many systems hostage. Captain Rourke knew the humans could not stop now. They had to finish what they had started. The Horizon moved swiftly through space, leading a small fleet of human ships. Across the bridge, crew members prepared for the upcoming battle. Every sensor was active, every weapon charged. The humans were outnumbered, but that had never stopped them before. Lieutenant Mara Jensen studied the star charts. "We've traced the main Vraketh fleet to the Galran cluster," she said. "It's massive. They are gathering forces for a final assault. If we don't act fast, they'll strike helpless systems again." Rourke's eyes narrowed. "Then we act fast. We hit them before they can regroup. We show them that humans don't wait to be attacked. We strike first." Soren, the communications officer, chimed in. "I've been analyzing their patterns. Their fleet relies heavily on a central command ship. If we disable it, their forces will lose coordination. They'll become vulnerable." Kyle, the security officer, leaned forward. "Then that's our target. The command ship falls, the rest fall with it. Humans lead the strike. Everyone ready for boarding and combat missions if necessary." The fleet approached the Galran cluster. Thousands of Vraketh ships were concentrated there, guarding systems and supply lines. The humans could feel the enormity of the challenge. Every wrong move would be catastrophic. "Stealth and strategy first," Rourke said. "We use diversion, small attacks, electronic disruption. Then we strike at the command ship. The humans split their forces. A small, fast squadron, led by Mara, would infiltrate the enemy lines and board the command ship. The rest of the fleet would engage the outer defenses, drawing attention away from the main strike team. Mara's squadron moved through asteroid belts, slipping past patrols. Their small ships were hard to detect, and electronic interference scrambled Vraketh sensors. Mara guided them with precision. "Stay sharp. Timing is everything. One mistake, and it's over." They reached the command ship, a massive fortress-like vessel bristling with weapons. Mara's heart raced, but she did not show fear. Fear was irrelevant. Humans relied on courage, creativity, and instinct. Kale's voice came over comms. "We're entering docking area. Watch for patrols and traps." The team boarded silently, moving through the corridors with careful efficiency. The ship was alive with energy, glowing panels and moving machinery everywhere. The Vraketh crew was unaware of the intrusion. For now. Soren worked from a portable console, hacking into the command ship's systems. "I'm disrupting communications and defense networks. They won't know what hit them." Mara led the team to the central bridge. Vraketh officers were coordinating the fleet, unaware of the humans approaching. Mara signaled the team. "On my mark, strike fast, strike hard." Kyle moved ahead, neutralizing guards with speed and precision. Mara followed, taking control of key access points. Soren disabled automated defenses remotely. Within minutes, they reached the command hub, cutting power to the ship's main systems. Alarms blared. The Vraketh crew realized something was wrong. "Intruders! Protect the command core!" one officer shouted. Mara's team fought with courage and strategy. Every move was precise, every attack calculated. Humans were smaller in number but faster, smarter, and unpredictable. They moved through the corridors, planting charges and disabling control systems. Meanwhile, outside the command ship, the human fleet attacked the outer defenses. Using electronic warfare, diversion tactics, and small, precise strikes, they held the Vraketh forces at bay. Their ingenuity and coordination caused confusion, making the enemy vulnerable. Rourke watched the battle unfold. "Humans are unstoppable when they refuse to be predictable," he said quietly. "This is our moment. We finish it today." Inside the command ship, Mara's team reached the core of the control systems. Soren worked furiously, inserting viruses and cutting power to critical functions. Lights flickered, energy conduits sparked, and the Vraketh officers struggled to maintain control. "Almost done," Soren said. "The fleet outside will be blind to our movements soon." Mara planted the final charges. "We hit the core, and we collapsed their command network. This ends now." The explosions ripped through the command ship. Systems failed completely. The Vraketh fleet was thrown into chaos. Without coordination, their massive numbers became meaningless. Ships collided, weapons malfunctioned, and formations collapsed. The humans had turned the tide decisively. Rourke's fleet moved in, targeting the disorganized enemy. Using precision strikes, they disabled key vessels, capturing some and destroying others. The Vraketh forces were overwhelmed, not by numbers, but by human ingenuity, strategy, and courage. Mara's team retreated to their ships, watching the command ship implode. Fires erupted, alarms blared, and the once powerful vessel was reduced to rubble. Humans had done what no one else could. They had defeated the heart of the Vraketh's fleet. Back on the horizon, the crew celebrated quietly. They had saved countless lives and liberated multiple star systems from the Vraketh's control. They had proven that humans could fight, survive, and triumph even against overwhelming odds. Survivors who had been rescued earlier looked on in awe. They now understood the human spirit, the courage, intelligence, and determination that could turn despair into hope. Rourke addressed the crew. "Today, we showed the galaxy what humanity can do. We fought for the helpless. We protected those who could not protect themselves. We are not the strongest by size or numbers, but we are strong in ways the Vraketh could never understand." Mara returned to the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The Vraketh were defeated, for now. Systems were free, survivors safe, and hope had returned. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. "We've made a difference, but we must continue to protect the galaxy. Humanity cannot stop here." Rourke joined her. "We've done more than survive. We've inspired. The galaxy will remember this day, and the Vraketh will never forget it." In distant star systems, civilizations began to communicate with one another. Reports spread of humans who had struck decisively against a powerful enemy. The word traveled fast. Humans, brave, clever, and unstoppable. The humans themselves knew the fight was far from over. Other threats would emerge, other enemies would rise, but the galaxy had witnessed their courage, and humanity had earned its place as a protector, a force for hope. Mara stood tall, watching the stars stretch into lines as the horizon jumped into hyperspace. "We've made our mark," she said softly, "and we will continue to fight, to protect, and to show the galaxy the true power of humans." Rourke smiled. "And the galaxy will watch. The galaxy will remember, and humanity will always rise, no matter how dark the night." The humans had answered the call. The galaxy had been held hostage, and they had responded. They had fought when others hesitated. They had risked everything to protect the helpless. They had proven, once and for all, that humans were a force, unlike any other. As the horizon and its fleet moved forward, ready for whatever challenges awaited, the stars themselves seemed to shine brighter. The galaxy had seen humanity's courage. The galaxy had witnessed their ingenuity, and the Vraketh would never, ever underestimate them again. Humanity had triumphed. Humanity had inspired hope, and humanity had shown the galaxy that even in the darkest times, heroes could rise from the most unexpected places. The humans had answered the call, and the galaxy would never forget.